We're back. We're so back.
We're back.
Grant has not only done the biggest thing in his entire life. You can show it off.
I don't have it on.
Oh, he does have his wedding ring on. Oh, whoa. All right. Well, Grant got
Right
married.
there.
So say big congrats to Grant. That's super exciting. But also it's pretty on brand because you got married and honeymoon in the country in which this race is coming up on this weekend.
Heck yeah. We left just in time for an F1 race to get over to Italy. So shame on us.
I was about to say, could you imagine if you could have gone? That would have been
Golly.
electric.
Would have been a dream. It would
Ferrari
have been my
home
honeymoon,
race.
though. Ferrari
Yeah.
home race, they'd probably finish like 8-9. It wouldn't even be worth it. We'd leave pissed. God knows what would happen.
True, get in a fight. It would be.
Nothing good would come out of that.
But yeah, so very big congrats. But now to take the thunder away from you, it is now 12-9. I'm leading our challenge. You guessed first place. Yeah, you guessed first place. You get 3. You guess second. You get 2. You guess third. You get 1. Last week I called Oscar winning, which I was extremely nervous about because he qualified P4. Yeah. Oscar pulled it out because he's the dog. And then I had Lando Charles. Wait, no, Lando got P2, right? Yeah. So actually, it's 13-9.
13-9.
Whoa. No.
14. No. 14. Yeah, you pick up 2 on that.
Oh, 14-9. And then I put Charles Leclerc, which aged like milk horribly. And then you went Lando Oscar Charles, so you don't get anything. Hate to see
Awfully close. Just no cigar.
What a great race, though. I mean, overall, that was one of the best Grand Prix I've watched. It was during your welcome party, so I may have been watching it off of Carter's phone, but I went through some highlights and I rewatched everything. It was insane from the beginning. It was
great from the get-go. There was action immediately. It was good racing. That track, honestly, like Vegas, there's just always good racing there. You're not always going to know who's going to win. And your team finished well in the points, had a great race, but you don't always pick or not what you think is going to happen happens every time there, which I like. I mean, it gives some leeway as to who's going to score, how's it going to lay out. And especially for midfield, definitely affects the championship based on how they line up. I mean, people squeeze points out in Miami and Vegas. Good racing track.
We kind of saw a vintage Ferrari Williams race. I mean, from the get-go, we had the cars battling each other. Obviously, we had Albon finishing P5. Carlos made contact, I think, with 2 people that race. I believe Albon at one point, as well as Lewis Hamilton.
Yep.
The Hamilton one was bad. We watched that clip. It was bad. I mean,
Carlos, you originally didn't think that it was
originally
I was like, bro, Lewis just tried to take him out.
I don't know what angle I watched it from the first time, but I was like, holy crap, Carlos dive bombed him. And then I watched it 2 more times with you, and I was like, I'm an idiot, dude. Lewis clearly just swerved right into him. So
Lewis just wasn't looking in the mirrors. Especially with a guy like Carlos, drives aggressive like Carlos, you got to know he's going to be sending it. And you're just, lollygagging, crank your car in for the turn, and there's somebody right there. You can't, I know I'm a Ferrari guy, but still, you can't get behind something like that. And it makes it even worse that it's Carlos's old seat. Mm-hmm. There's probably a little bit of, there is history, I guess, to an extent, but it definitely was a little much.
It was questionable.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And then also because of the damage his car received, it's like, who's to say how much further he wouldn't have shot up? There was a little trouble in paradise with Williams, though. There's team communication in both garages, which was miscommunicated, from which each side's strategy was miscommunicated to the other. So Albon's team was aware that he was allowed to go push and use the full pace of his car to go chase down as many points as possible, where at one point Carlos's team was aware that Alex was not going to push and was going to allow him to do a DRS tunnel for the time being, or DRS train for the time being. That did not happen. I believe there was contact at some point. The Carlos ended the race and he was heated and really
pissed.
He was so pissed.
And
I was very worried. I was like, oh no, here it goes. All of it's out the window. But James immediately came in and was like, by the way, none of the driver's fault, which I think is such a smart way to go about it. It's like, by the way, this is the garage's fault. This is my fault. This is the engineer's fault. This is our miscommunication, our bad, which I think is good, because the last thing you want, especially with us just being team oriented, kind of like chasing the McLaren feel of no driver won, is we just want the team to be oriented together. But I was happy. Albon with the second, fifth place of the year is phenomenal, and this was a dry race. So,
well, not only that, you double points too. I mean, you pick up.
Sainz still finished
12 points. You outscore Ferrari by 2. You outscore Red Bull. You don't outscore Red Bull. They outscore you by 1 point because Tsunoda squeezed out 10th.
Double points, Red Bull.
Along the lines of bottom of the midfield, because to me, Williams has set themselves above the bottom of that midfield.
We're the top right now.
There's 2 parts to the midfield right now, for sure. And I feel like there's a pretty good discrepancy between the 2. Williams is at the top of that for sure. Sniffing on the Ferrari's tail.
Ferrari, yeah, absolutely.
I think how that plays out in the constructors, though, is eventually, if this keeps up, or like if you go back to, race 1, right, and Max doesn't squeeze out a lot of points, you're eventually going to get in there. You could get in there with the Red Bull for constructors if they continue to be a one-man team. That may be a stretch. That's a hot take, but like getting people sleep on double points. It doesn't matter if it's 8 points or you end up with 21 or whatever it may be. Like double points is a big deal. Yep. That takes you a long freaking way because some of these top teams literally only have one guy.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting because I've talked about this with you, but everybody's going to start delivering upgrades, and Williams has been vocal they're not. So where does that go? Red Bull's rolling in a huge roll of upgrades this next race, and it's just one of those things where how much of an effect is that going to have? Is it going to turn into a rocket ship? Is it going to be competing with Mercedes and McLaren more often? Is Yuki going to figure it out? Like, there's a lot of variables in that sense, and especially with the bottom of the midfield, I agree with you. I think Williams is sniffing like top half right now, where it's like, we're fighting with like Ferrari and Red Bull more than we're fighting with Haas now.
Yep,
it's a little bit more track to track, but I do think that there's potential that they just kind of isolate themselves up there unless teams start going heavy in their packages. Alpine is a team we've always talked about that is trying to make adjustments to be good right now. This is not a rebuild. Williams is rebuilding, and they're dominating.
Aston's rolling in upgrades. I'm not going to say that they're going to be point scores, like that. But the fact that they're even rolling in an upgrade package, I think is wild. I read something today, actually, that Adrian Newey had like his first presser where he actually talked about the state of the car. And yes, he mostly talked about the 2026 car and that the wind tunnel at Aston was the best facility in the world. And he kind of crapped on Red Bull's facilities. He said there was a bunch of buildings and made no sense. The wind tunnel was horrible, but there was so much camaraderie that they made it work. So it was like I don't even know if you'd call that a compliment sandwich. It was like
kind of like a backhanded insult.
Yeah, it was like 2 disses and a compliment.
Yeah, it's like, I guess it worked. Like, we figured it out, but then it's like, I'm also one of the key pieces that figured it out. Now I'm gone. So what's going to happen?
He is the key piece.
It should be interesting. But speaking of teams that want to win now, obviously, probably the biggest headline that came out of the Miami Grand Prix is that Duhan got the can, and now it's Franco Colapinto is in the seat.
In comes Franco.
So that's exciting. I like Franco. I don't know if you like Franco. I'm pretty sure you like Franco. You don't dislike him. So
I dislike him. Throws crazy dive bombs.
There were some crazy dive bombs, but
I love him.
I'm curious to see him in this car. I think it's kind of funny because I remember in the beginning when I was like, well, if Franco gets in the Alpine versus the Williams, it's going to be a totally different story. This is like before the season even started. And I'm like, because, he's going to be in a car that's actually competitive. You never know what's going to happen. Meanwhile, the Williams is much more competitive than the Alpine is this year. But, he squeezed whatever he could out of the FW46 last year, which was the worst. Such a bad car.
Yeah, so, he drove well.
He drove pretty well. He crashed a lot because that's just what that car did. But
that's also what James was saying. James' best line ever is, you're never going to have the opportunity to learn as much again. So break everything.
Yeah, break everything. And it starts with every edit ever on Instagram for Williams.
And it's tough. And then sometimes it's like a meme and it shows every single of the 400 crashes they had last year. But
yeah, bad. But so that's exciting. So on that note, shall we get into the predictions for, how do you even pronounce this? I don't want to butcher it. Imola?
Emilia Romagna. Imola.
Imola. All right. So I'm obviously leading. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
No, dude, it's your tee box.
It is my tee box indeed. This never happens on the golf course, that's for sure. I have Oscar P1.
Yeah.
You know what we would like to do? I'm giving it everything.
Yeah, dude.
I know.
He's my P3. I'm totally giving him P3.
I'm giving George Russell P2.
Ooh. Yeah.
I like George for some reason.
Are they rolling in upgrades this race? Or are
I'm
they
not
waiting?
sure. I'm not sure. I know
something. I can't remember.
I know Red Bull's rolling in upgrades to the point where apparently if these don't work, there's a chance Horner's done. That's just a full speculation rumor, but I think with this case heating up in public court right now, there's potential that could happen. But because there are upgrades, I think you give me Max Verstappen in third. So I got Oscar, George, Max. I got 3 different teams, which I like. Oscar is just, bro, I could glaze that kid all day. He's unbelievable. The Miami race was so freaking fun to watch, and he's just in his he's just in the mode.
He's in a different league right now.
So good.
He's so locked in, dude.
It's so fun to watch too.
We talked about this before, but Lando is so far in his own basket right now. He can't get out.
No.
He's in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun to watch. It's so fun to watch.
Tangent.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So what are you looking at? P1, P2, P3?
Oh, this track's going to be good for McLaren. I feel like there's some high-speed turns. I mean, that car in clean air is a force to be reckoned with. So give me Oscar P1.
Yep, I already had it pre-written.
Give me... I mean, I might as well just butcher my chances since I'm already down.
No, but you're not down that bad. Like, truthfully, you could be conservative and pick the exact same as me if you really wanted to. I don't care. Like, play this for the long run. There's a ton of races left.
Give me Oscar. I'm going against what I just said. Oscar, Lando.
Wow.
Give me Lewis.
No way.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Do you think... Dude, that is the worst take of all time.
No way, dude. It's a home race.
Give it to Charles. Charles is good in that course, and he won last year.
Yeah, that was Monza, but...
Oh, yeah, true. Whatever.
I don't know. Lewis is all hyped up, man.
No, he's not. He's the opposite of hype. He's all angry, bro.
Actually, take that away. They... Sorry for the language there.
It doesn't matter. This is our podcast. You do
give me Kimmy.
Yes. I'm giving it everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I love that. Okay, so we got Oscar, George, Max for me, Oscar, Lando, Kimmy. I think so for example, right here, if Oscar wins, we both get 3. If Lando gets P2, you got 2, and if you get 3rd, you get 3 points right there. So that bumps you 2 down. So you're in a pretty good spot. I think there's lots of things to talk about going into this race. That is our final predictions. When it comes to constructors for teams at the moment, there's not really a close fight. McLaren's has over 100-point difference on Mercedes. And then Mercedes has almost a 40-point gap from Red Bull. The only super close fight is the 9-point fight between Red Bull and Ferrari.
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, it's for that final podium position for constructors. So that'll be a good fight.
Super good fight.
I mean, if Ferrari can actually score these double points and keep up with pretty much just Max, because it's seeming like he is Red Bull again, I'd love to see Yuki perform. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see him do well. But as of right now, all the evidence says that team is literally just Max. So that'll be a good fight going into it. I think Williams is pulling away from Haas. I don't.
It does feel like it. Right now, it's 37-20. It's 17 points, which seems like a small differential, but when you're scoring in the bottom half of the grid, when it comes to the top 10, it's a lot of points. So I mean,
got a grueling fight for last place. 6, 7, 8. Kick Alpine RB.
Which is surprising because I feel like the RB should be scoring more points. I think they have the Ferrari curse of just horrible race management.
Yeah, and I feel like they should be up there, not with y'all, but at least with
I agree. I thought they were going to be.
Haas.
I think I picked Williams to be 7th in the constructors this year. I had Haas and RB in front of us. I thought the car was going to be much better. And then, but that did remind me. What is interesting is Lawson, I think, is also right now in the hot seat with Red Bull. There's more and more talks about him being booted for Limlad. I forget his first name, but he's an F2 guy, and basically Red Bull is praying this guy as their Kimmy. And we've
Dude,
also,
they can't do that.
I know they can't do that, but we were also talking about this on the phone, where we're talking about next year with new regulations obviously rolling in, what rookies are going to roll in, where the seats are going to fill out. Cadillac, what we just discussed, is looking more and more like Perez, Joe.
Joe, man, Joe is the guy.
J-O. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Joe Guan Yu, GW.
He's so cool. But him and Checo, I think, will be the most quiet, the two quietest guys of all time. So reserved. It'll be very chill. But we were talking because obviously Valtteri was in that discussion. And for me, I would love to see Valtteri in a car. And the only way I could spin this is just so off topic and tangent, but I want to talk about it because it kind of revolves around Red Bull. Red Bull's in like the weirdest situation, I think, for driver lineup for next year. So there is a chance Max leaves and goes to Aston Martin if he gets pulled. If they don't finish 3rd in the constructors, I believe he can leave. Just break his contract and get out of there. No strings attached. If that's the case, they're left with Yuki, who they don't want to keep because he's a Honda driver and they're not super stoked on him. Isaac Hadjar is driving unbelievable. I think they're banking on that kid. Isaac Hadjar gets pulled up next year, I think, regardless, because they want to give him a go.
Yeah.
So say Max leaves to Aston Martin. Hadjar's the head of the team. But then in my head, I'm like, you kind of want a veteran. And there's the 4th best driver of all time with a mustache and a mullet, test driving cars for McLaren and Mercedes, arguably 2 of the fastest cars for next year's regulations because they're on the Mercedes power unit. How are you not going to want to pluck that guy? Throw 77 in the first seat of the Red Bull with Isaac Hadjar and just see what happens. Let Limlad get his wings a little bit in the V-carb again. Maybe fill in with another rookie or pull somebody from somewhere and just see what happens in those seats, but just have a veteran with a young guy in the starting car if Max leaves.
Right.
This is like so left field, and I just don't see there any reality of this happening, but it could.
Right. I mean, it's a stretch, but honestly, so were a lot of the driver moves that happened this year.
Yeah, Carlos to Williams was a right.
Right. You don't think half the stuff's going to happen, but it's how the cards lay out, and I think it'll be interesting. I said something on the phone too, offline, was that any rookies that come in next year, I think are going to have an advantage, just because not only that, even if there's reserve drivers right now that are driving the protos or whatever for next year. These guys are going to have an advantage because even though these are small cars and we've had small cars before years ago, it's completely different. Just with like the DRS that is
it's like
now
the
called,
front flap vents go now instead of the back rear,
and it's called
it's
called MOM, MOM.
Yeah,
I saw a meme today that said like Verstappen is inside somebody's mom.
It's in somebody's mom's range.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he's Verstappen inside of Lando's mom. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna happen.
Croppy's gonna have to watch his mouth, man.
For real.
But I don't know. You practice what you preach, and if these kids get in a car and can perfect it, or at least put in competitive lap times, yes, if they're on a horrible team, it's a different story. But any rookies that could possibly come into a mediocre team could have a chance to shine. And I see in the next few years reserve drivers that, maybe we know their names now, maybe we don't, start to get a chance and get a seat. And I mean, some of this grid is going to age out. There's not all of these dudes are young. Yes, there's 6 rookies, but like Lewis's time is coming. We don't know Max's future. Fernando's going to go eventually. Stroll's definitely got to go. Like Hulkenberg.
Yeah, Hulk's got a pretty long contract though.
Right, but he's old,
and he could get pushed out. Yeah,
right. That car also sucks.
It sucks. I just don't feel like Audi's even going to be that good next year. It kind of sucks. I feel like Hulk's just going to be wasting away at that team.
Yeah, well, that's his whole career, dude. I mean, he has the most race starts with no podium in history. Right?
Yeah, I don't think he has a podium.
It's a horrible stat to own, but he owns it. So whatever.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, like the only I'm with you. I think it's gonna be people aging out, but I think it's like I think Oliver Behrman. I think Ollie's gonna go up to Ferrari as soon as they
Yeah.
get the opportunity. They might throw Leclerc's brother in the Haas, let
Yep.
him do his thing, and then I mean, with Aston Martin, I truly think they're gonna make a move for Max. I'm
I
just
hope so.
I'm just confident. I'm not confident, but I just feel like he's gonna end up in that car. So
Yeah.
if that happens, then we're looking at basically all the rookie moves being done by Red Bull, which should be interesting. I mean, we all doubted Isaac, but he's been unbelievable. And I don't think Liam has a seat next year in Formula One unless he just
Nah.
starts lighting it up. I think there's potential he gets pulled midway through this year. So I don't know.
Yeah. All of that to say, Imola's a great track. I'll say what I say every single week that it's one of my favorites or whatever I say. But awesome track, good venue, elevation change, good turns, like high and low speed. Um, I There's a good overtaking chance early in the lap, maybe like turn 5. It's like a hairpin, but the track gets wide, so should be good action. Qualifying laps are super fun to watch at this track because they fly. You just get your references are a little closer, and the track in general is just quick.
Yeah.
So we should be in for a good one.
Yeah, lots of good straights with barely. Well, I don't even know what you call those turns, like tiny little slight movements. What do you call
Yeah,
those?
just high speed turns.
Yeah. So I mean, personally looking at it, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, it looks good for a Williams car going dead straight for a lot of it, just flying. So that looks good for that. And I'm with you. I think McLaren will most likely
It's
dominate
gonna
on this
chew it
track.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I don't mind the McLaren dominance. I'm
No.
having fun with it. I think Oscar's the perfect guy to be leading the charge. He's not flashy. He does not give a rip.
Mm-hmm.
He just likes going fast. Okay, before we get off topic again, what are the predictions for the remaining top 10 for this race?
I think you're gonna have a Red Bull,
Okay.
both Mercedes, both
Okay.
Ferraris,
So you got Kimmy in third, so then you have probably Verstappen rolling out fourth.
Verstappen. No, I'm gonna go Kimmy, George, Max.
Okay. Max fifth.
Um,
Sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10.
I'm gonna go Charles Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh, what do I do for 8, 9, 10?
Boys and Blues probably the safe bet, but you have Yuki Tsunoda as well. And
Nah, I'm not giving Yuki points. I'm gonna go.
You also have both Haas.
Signs, Ocon, Albon.
Okay. If Sainz doesn't get damaged, I think he's up there. He's just gotten pretty unlucky, truthfully. If I'm going to round out my top 10, fourth place, I've got Oscar, George, Max. I would say probably Kimmy. Kimmy's been looking Kimmy looks good, and I think the car is just better than the Ferrari. And you were talking about how Ferrari didn't roll out upgrades. They're not rolling out upgrades for this race.
They were supposed to roll them out this race, but they're waiting until Spain, which sucks.
So basically, just means the car is still going to have some of the struggles it had with pace. So I just am not feeling confident in the Ferrari at all. So I would say fourth is going to be Kimmy, and then I'm pretty confident that we could see a Williams up there again, whether it's Albon or Carlos. I'm not really sure. Safe bet, I'm going to go Albon again. P5, I think he gets another P5 in a row. Then I think P6 is Charles. Then I think P7 is Carlos. And then I think P8 is Lewis. P9, Yuki. P10, Hadjar.
Hadjar. There you go.
I think Hadjar is going to have a good race. I think he's going to score points. I think Lewis is going to have a P8 race. I think it's going to be worse than he's been doing this season just because it just seems like that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Oh, it's the first race in Italy. Man, Lewis Hamilton's really going to show out, and then he's just going to get eighth.
He's going to ball. He's totally going to ball.
That would be great if he balled out. I feel like it's not going to happen. I feel like Williams will potentially be the faster car.
Remember when the Mercedes was horrible, and they went to Silverstone, and he won out of nowhere?
Yeah, but so much happened to have that occur.
You never know.
Yeah, I agree. You never know, but I don't feel a confidence in
Nah,
your
no way.
team. If I was a Ferrari fan, absolutely. I just put Albon in P5 for the second week in a row. Obviously, there's
Yeah.
bias for your team, but I'm not confident in your team enough to put them in
No.
a higher spot. I think the Williams will be faster. I think Carlos will get his revenge on Lewis this go around and finish in front of him when he finished right behind him last race. I think Charles maybe gets Carlos, but I don't think he can catch Albon in the straights. And I think that's going to be a fun battle to see. Those cars kind of bumper to bumper, just or not bumper to bumper, dare I say wheel to wheel, just fighting throughout the race. I think it'll be good. Oscar dominance will never bore me. I'll glaze that kid to the end of the time.
Same, dude. He's so fast.
He's so fast and he's so fun to watch. So I'm fired up. Formula One's great right now. We will be reporting as much as we can on this. We will potentially have another hiatus. I get married next weekend, so we're busy boys. But we'll be reporting back. Check our Instagram. Check our YouTube. We got great results on our last Miami video, which was awesome. So thank you to all the people that watched. If you're watching this one as well, subscribe if you have not subscribed, because that helps just to show that people are actually enjoying the content. Leave a like, comment, roast us, and anything.
Flame our takes. Thank you to
all
that tuned in.
We didn't have Franco on the podium. This is shocking. He's not gonna like it. The yerba mate won't help that much. All right, deuces.